Gemini, welcome. This is Erin Scott with the Alchemy of Holism. And this month we're going to be doing some gouache assessment. We're going to do a little art channeling to tap into the natural evolutionary arc for the Gemini archetype. So let's see what's going on here. I'm using gouache this month versus my pencils and colored, my graphite and charcoal and colored pencils. Let's see what wants to come here for you. As I was telling the other signs, it's been really wonderful. I've used gouache for my personal work, but I've never channeled with it, and it's perfect to channel with because it's fluid. Working with water, obviously. It's very similar to watercolors, but it can get quite opaque. Let's see what's coming for... And they kind of readily come through, which is fab. Love it. Okay. It's interesting to see what colors are coming through as well. Sometimes there's big swaths of color that are coming through in themes. So it's interesting to see how the different archetypes are resonating with different frequencies of color, because that has function too, you know, just like the numbers and the forms and the pictures. Gemini. See if you can see, okay, the sun is actually going down. In fact, probably during filming, the sun will go behind the mountain outside. And we're going to see how it impacts the video quality. I think it should be okay, but it is going to get darker shortly. So Gemini, I hope you're doing well. As I've been saying to the other signs that I've filmed so far, this particular Pisces new moon cycle, mid-March to mid-April, which is what I'm tapping into here for this natural evolutionary cycle for you, has been intense because the sun and moon were conjunct Chiron, and 2 weeks before that, Venus and Mercury were conjunct Chiron. So what this is about is a major natural process going on collectively, and thus also individually, of healing. Healing, seeing clearly the wounds. This was all trine Jupiter and Scorpio, so it's about getting really clear, really courageous about our own woundings, our own story, our own narratives that are sourcing, catalyzing, creating, manifesting our external realities. Gemini, this is interesting because none of the other channeled artworks kind of came through in like big blocks. Everything here is kind of a big block for you. So let's talk about it. There might be more that wants to come through. We're starting with these columns, brown, so grounded, something firm for you. Perhaps thoughts in your mind or realities in your existence where there's two pillars of firm reality. It could be for some of you home and work, it could be family and social networking, but you might feel grounded and rooted in two, I want to say, earth-based realities. So it could be relationships, but it also could be financial or home or land or some sort of physical car, automobile, some sort of physicality that you feel rooted in. However, and these are linked because we have the green connection points between these two, let's say, firm or perceived as firm columns of your reality at this time. So there's thoughts between, there's connections between these two areas of life, which is not unusual. We all live a life that is networked in its own web. So everything is connected, but there's something here about these connections where it's linked also to these black diagonal lines that are running through each of these columns of your solid material reality. And what I'm getting, Gemini, for your arc of growth over the course of this period is there might be doubts, second guessing, uncertainty about these particular columns of your reality. Maybe you're questioning things that previously you didn't question, but what I get is that in your mind, because these are linked realities, that one is reflecting the other. You can see that the diagonals this way are reflecting a mirror image of the diagonals that way, you know? So there's something reflecting in another area of your life the same doubts. Now, it could be that for some of you in a marital relationship or a significant partnership, even a business partnership, that the doubts of the one is being reflected and experienced as doubts in the other. Doubts of the self and doubts of the other are reflecting back and forth to each other. And it has to do for some of you with new growth potential. These are green lines. So there's some new growth potential or new growth ideas or projects that have actually been moving forward. It could be renovations with the house, for example, or the purchase of a new car, or the decision to have another child. But there's doubts. There's doubts. This could represent a couple, I have to say. It could. But not all of you are going to be in a coupling. And if that's the case, then what I originally got was actually your truth, which is this is about maybe areas of life that you are doubting, and indeed maybe the area of life that you're thinking about also is reflecting instability. The black lines here could be instability in that particular area of life. May it be work or family, home, where you're living. So your doubts are actually maybe showing up in your external reality. But it's almost like there's some quandary a bit because there are, let's say, active growths happening with perhaps some level of your reality. Maybe it's a promotion at work, but you're having doubts about it. But that promotion of work is going to give you the extension on the house, for example. And I have to say, this is the most superficial I've gone with my readings, because typically I'm reading about the evolution of the psyche, not the minutia of the life. But the minutia of the life reflects the greater narrative, always. So for you, there's a decision at hand about what has meaning. You know, the doubts here that are being reflected outwardly in the person or in the circumstance has to do with meaning for you. And I think you might be questioning whether or not you want to go forward with certain aspects of growth. That's what I'm getting. Now, there's almost like these rainbow arcs that are coming up. This particular arc it's showing up as gray, but black was the color. You have this red, which is showing up pink, this yellow, lemon yellow, and this Naples yellow, which is more like a gold. The good thing, the positive thing, the benefic thing that I see is that this Naples gold here at the base is also crowning it. So all of these thoughts, all of these worries, all of these concerns, all of this spinning mind stuff that's happening, it's founded and crowned by this kind of optimistic or more optimistic way of viewing the future for you. But I do think that there's almost like this emanation, and you can see from these arcs that it's like these two areas of reality, or the two people involved in the relationship are of same mind. It's of the same mind. And again, for those of you not in a partnership, this is the circumstance. Very interesting, Gemini, very interesting indeed. Down at the bottom, you can see that there's this brown line, and then it stops. There's another brown line, it stops. Another brown line, it stops. What I get here is that there's a back and forth. There's a back and forth. And the muddiness of the brown here might reflect a muddiness of circumstance or a muddiness of clarity, that there's not crystal clarity when it's coming to the circumstances, the foundations, because these three lines back and forth and back and forth, this is at the foundation of the couple, the foundation of you and the circumstance. It's at the foundation, and it might be, there's back and forth because of a lack of clarity. The good thing is, the benefic thing about this particular thing, again, or this cycle for you, is this crowning and foundation of gold. Because gold really is talking about an optimistic or more joyful way of being able to perceive. So even though the mental activity for you over the course of the cycle might be active, you might be navigating, okay, what is it that's meaningful? There are doubts because there's some dissonance. What is it that the growth will, if I go forward with whatever the growth is, how is it going to be of benefit for me, for the couple, or for the circumstance? That's what I get, that you're navigating, and you're navigating in your mind. And what I get is that there is some murkiness. So what this means, what all this means, is that the growth edges, the mind needs to be cleared. And what I'm getting for some of you is that diet, a clearing, a cleansing, a purging, a fast might even be at hand for some of you Geminis, to clear the system. Remove fluoride from your system. Also technology, which you've heard me say many times before, but because there's a lot of waves going back and forth between you and this and back and forth at the base, what I get is that there's a big clearing from energetic to hormonal and what you're imbibing, be it alcohol or nicotine or sugar or processed foods or not, GMO foods. So there's a clearing that I get that is definitely needed because there's a lot of activity. There's resonance, but the resonance has dissonance in it, meaning there's resonance between you and the other person, thinking the same things, you're reflecting back and forth to each other, at least deep down, at least within, there's a resonance. Or you and the circumstance. So whatever your doubts are, it's showing up in your external reality. And you're starting to doubt maybe the growth that you've initiated in this way or that way. Maybe the applications that you sent out to new jobs. Is that meaningful? Is that really what I want to do? That's what I'm getting. So Gemini, let's pull a core growth edge. This is the Carolyn Mace archetype cards. And as with all of us, there are many things that are growing and evolving, aspects of the self that are growing and evolving, but often there's a core or a key or a foundational growth edge at hand. So that's what I'm tapping into here. So this is for Gemini for mid-March to mid-April, Pisces new moon cycle, Chiron conjunction. Child orphan is coming up, Gemini. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah, child orphan. So what is it that wants to be evolved out of, moving from over the course of the cycle? This is about feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. What wants to be evolved is independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of surviving. So Gemini, what this could be for a lot of you, and again, not all of you are going to be in partnerships, but because of the growth edge coming up, this could absolutely be that there is a coupling, whether it be a person, a business partnership, or even a friendship, some key relationship, or a key circumstance that you're bound to. But there is a necessity to detach because the dissonance within the lack of delight in the relationship in the relationing with this circumstance or person is within them as well. So this is about, there's a growth cycle here about the need to go it alone, the need to become independent, the need to really get to the root of feelings of abandonment, which, by the way, is a core human wounding, okay? So Gemini, I send you so much love and support for this month. For those interested in learning about their soul encodings, their encoded soul stories, we all have them. I'm quite good at identifying them and catalyzing your freedom around the stories that are within, including the wound narratives. So for those interested in my holosynthesis work, I encourage you to go to the alchemyofholism.com. And until the next video, I'm sending you much love and much support for your clarity and your movement, your progression. Okay? Much love. Bye-bye.